Okay, round 3, time attack, Brands Hatch. Got the microphone in clutch today because the audio was a bit crap at Donington vlog, so I'm going to try and make a bit of effort to use this today. Yeah, it's nice and sunny. It is scorchio. Definitely going to be a sweat box in that car today, but we're definitely going to do our best to give you some good content today at least. Changes to the Micra you've already seen in the last video where we've repaired a couple of things. The only thing I have changed since that video is I've put a couple of brake ducts in. They are a bit rudimentary because they didn't really have any ducts or anything to use, but we're utilising these holes here that the tow eye passes through. And then hopefully I'll put in a bit of B-roll now of the video I took of where they go. But they go to the leading edge of the disc purely because I just didn't have enough ducting. But what we're definitely going to do as an upgrade for next round is we're going to put some ducts in the bottom of the bumper, sort of like above where Yokohama is on the side of the bumper there, and put some bigger ducts to the brake, and we'll make some proper bracketry and stuff. The gearbox side is dead easy. The driver's side, we've got maybe a bit of a clearance issue with the crank pulley, but again, that's something, maybe we can 3D print some on there to route air around that, so we're not at risk of rubbing on the pulley. Other than that, the car remains unchanged. We've got all the cameras set up today inside the car, all the DJI actions, so hopefully we're going to be able to give you some decent content today with some decent content, some decent audio and video content. So yeah, we're going to go out for a first session, which is going to be the practice. We're not going to push, we're just going to sort of play with the car in the first session. Yeah, we're not going to go for any fast times in that and then cue me to the next clip doing a fast time. But the goal for today is 52s. My PB around here is a 54.2 or a 54.4. Be on the screen now, whatever it is. So my goal for today is a 52 essentially. So I think with Donington we're best at that PB by 4.4 seconds. So I think Brands Hatch, I think besting improving our PB by 2 seconds is a plus, but a 52.9 I'll be perfectly happy with. So yeah, let's go out for the first session. Let's get it. First session of the day, the warm-up, the practice, whatever you want to call it these days. And we've also got a special surprise for you in the form of some new camera angles. Camera 1, camera 2, camera 1, camera 2, camera 1, camera 2. Now it's definitely going to add some sick production value to these already well produced vlogs of the spicy Micra. Now, as we told in our driver's briefing, warm up. I'm not going to push the car in any real capacity in the session. I just want to make sure everything's hunky-dory after our repairs and upgrades since the last round. So already a few laps in and I'm starting to feel something a bit weird at the bottom of Paddock Hill and also through Graham's Hill bend that we're just going through just now. And I can see at the dash the oil pressure is dipping below 40 but not 30, but when it does dip below 40 it's almost as if like the car's misfiring. It holds back for that split second.
Which what? The bottom of it?
The bottom of the front corner. So it was black. Fucking send it.
I'm getting oil pressure. It's cutting oil pressure.
In the corners.
In the bottom of Paddock Hill.
Yeah.
And in the corners.
Yeah. You haven't got enough oil in the engine. You need to put oil in it. Have you got oil?
Now, I'm not an idiot. Of course, the engine had oil in it. I slightly overfilled it by about 2-3 millimeters above full, just to make sure, but obviously that wasn't enough. Now, time is running out, so we're going to jump straight into the fastest lap of this session.
This is wife cam speaking. Woo woo! Hi guys, wife cam here. So apparently there's a problem with the splitter.
First session done. We had a bit of oil starvation issue there. The engine oil is at level, but I think we need to overfill it slightly. But we're getting oil pressure dips down into Paddock Hill and into Graham's Hill, which is, it's not cutting the engine, but it's cutting power ever so slightly. And then we've got the issue with the splitter resonating. So the other thing I did yesterday is I lowered the front of the car 15 mil. So I think what's happening now is that the splitter is actually working, whereas previously, because it maybe sat too high, it's not working correctly. But now we've got the correct airflow going underneath the splitter. That's what's causing this resonance. So I'm not really sure how we're going to rectify that today, but we need to go in and put some extra stabilisers in there, really. So that's definitely going to be something we'll have to look into next round. We didn't get, I don't think we got a meat board for that one, but the steward did come have a word with us while we was topping the engine with oil after a few laps. So yeah, we're going to see what we can do to try and rectify that, but honestly I don't think we haven't got any materials here to really put a centre support in there to stop it doing that. But we'll see what we can do. But other than that, the car is really good. The amount of grip, I mean, I've always struggled with clearways with the old setup, and this was manageable. Just steer it in and just put your foot to floor and just steer the car around. But the car's definitely got potential today, and it sounds mint with the extra silencer taken out. So yeah, let's see what we can do. But if we manage to do any sort of fix, we'll film it. If not, we'll go straight into the next session.
Well, so the way that the main engine limiter is set up is that it's mapped over oil pressure and coolant temperature. So as you're dipping below the 30 psi of oil pressure mark, your main limiter is activating at 4,000 RPM, right, which is why you feel like you've got. What do you want me to do?
Leave it, because I can power through it, but ultimately it's there to save the engine from yeeting itself.
Yeet.
I reckon we can just top it up with a bit more oil and we can try and counter that. It's got a baffle in it, I don't know what else we can do.
Ilya's was the same, to be fair. His engine limiter table isn't the same, I don't think. I think we can probably increase it from the 30 psi mark. So anything less than that, I think, yeah, you're running into the shit then.
Yeah, I don't want to kill it.
Getting ready to go out for attack 1. Welcome back to Wife Cam.
we're still getting this power surge, this oil starvation safety that kicks in at the bottom of Paddock Hill and Graham's Hill. Now Paddock Hill is a pretty intense downhill section into an uphill section, so there's a lot of high G-force compression at the bottom of the dip, and Graham's Hill is a downhill braking zone, so I think it's just something we're going to have to deal with, because I don't really want to remove those safeties, because I don't want to replace the engine, and nothing really worth noting in a session apart from this moment just here. And no matter how many laps you do around Brands Hatch, Paddock Hill is still an extremely scary corner, especially for me. Anyway, we're going to roll into the fastest lap of this session.
Actually, we just had Mark Donnelly. Mark Donnelly jumped to the top of the leaderboard in Classic and Retro, and I think this is a battle that's really one to watch this season. Eden Young in the Haltech K11 Micra, and Mark Donnelly in the Donnelly Racing 1983 Ford Escort. They've been really trading blows this year. And there goes Eden Young in the number 69 Haltech Micra. And you can see it really actually wandering around a little bit. So I think, like ALX saying, it was a bit of a handful to drive, and you can see that playing out. You can also see it lifting the inside rear wheel, as short wheelbase front-wheel drive cars often do. So you can see that wheel just stationary. It looked attached to the ground, but the fact that the wheel was stationary suggests that it was just a little bit off the ground. But you can really see it squirming around. Very much still a handful. His lights flashing there for some reason. Purple Sector 1 from Eden Young in the Haltech Micra. That's faster than anybody on track right now. Flashing, I think his flashing his lights is, yeah, look, he's telling drivers to get out of the way. He is on a flyer. 52.3. That is faster than anybody on track right now, I believe. 52.3. So Eden Young actually at the beginning of the day said if he can get 52s, he'll be happy. And in fact, Eden Young with a 52.3 and Mark Donnelly with a 52.3 as well. 100th of a second is all that separates Eden Young and Mark Donnelly. This is probably going to be one of the battles of the season. These two cars are so different, and yet in the hands of Eden Young and Mark Donnelly, so closely matched. And there is Mark Donnelly in that 76 1983 Ford Escort.
There we go. Not only was it a 52, it was a D52. I am over the moon. Anyway, we're just going to come to the pits now because the window has popped out once again.
It's just said the passenger window's falling out. Right, Babs.
Now, last couple of laps I've noticed that the intake temperature is going pretty schizo, constantly flipping between -20 and +20 degrees. Unfortunately, we have a dead sensor. But unfortunately, we don't get another lap in because the session is cut short and checkered flag. Now, a bit of a sticky situation here is the session's ended, we're in the pit lane, and we have to go Parc ferme to qualify our points for the session, or we forfeit them. So we have to go the long way round the back of the paddock into Parc ferme, which turns out to be a waste of time because it didn't want us anyway. But that session ending early means we finished P1.
I can only apologise, viewers, for the nudity.
So yeah, that's the second session done. We're currently P1 with that, with a 53. So we've just done a 52.305, and Mark Donnelly over there has done a 52.315. Literally, is that 100th of a second? 100th of a second between us. It's faster than, you know, you could probably blink or fart or something. So that was, you'll probably see from the video. So that was a hell of a ride. That was, and that lap. You can see the car is just darting left and right on the circuit. That was a wild ride. The split is still doing that thing, but they're not meatballing us. For those who don't know, meatball is like a mechanical issue where we get penalised if we stay out, so that's the case of come in, rectify it. So the car's performing nicely. Had a bit of a moment in the braking area of Paddock Hill. Wilco was just behind me. Wilco was about to start his fast lap, and I was about to finish my fast lap, and I just went too far deep into the braking zone to try and get out of his way. The car unsettled, but I managed to sort of like get it down to the right hand side of the bottom hill to not avoid Wilco. So Wilco, if you're watching that, watching this, hopefully that explains what happened there. So yeah, really good that. Bit better track etiquette that time. Track etiquette's a bit of a etiquette, whatever. Stop correcting me. You know what I mean. People in the chat knows what I mean. Which is great. People getting out of the way. Apart from Jay got in my way into Graham's. He was right on the apex when I was on my hot lap, so I had to abort that one. But yeah, really good. We're just going to go check over the car now, let it cool down for a minute. We have got an issue with the air intake temperature sensor. It's fluctuating between like -10 and 10 degrees like constantly, so that's maybe going to hinder us, because obviously the map's going to target an air intake temperature sensor, and if it thinks it's colder than what it is, that might cause some issues with the map. But there's nothing we can do about it other than just go out and try and replicate that time again. So we're going to let the car cool down, and if there's any issues, there'll be some further footage. If not, there'll be the third session. So far so good. Okay, third session of the day, attack 1, the second point scoring round of the day. Now, fresh off that P1, the high of P1, we know we have got a quick and competitive car now, but Mark Donnelly is on our heels, so we've got no option but to turn the wick up slightly. Now, if you remember the whole throttle map situation on the steering wheel, we're going to turn it up to position 7, and that gives us 70% throttle. And then we're just going to roll straight into the first fastest lap of this session. 53.470. Not great, not terrible. Third in class. We've got a long way to go. And to cool down that later, we're going to go straight into our second push lap of the session. So it seems Wilco fancied a bit of a beach holiday at Druids. He's got his camping chair, he's got his thermos with his Bovril. Now instantly know this is going to be a red flag, so into the pits. There's no point going around any further. Let's try and address this passenger window that keeps trying to escape. Now, as of the recording of this voiceover, I've already got a permanent fix in place for that, so that's no longer going to be a running meme in the rest of the series. Now eventually we do get let back out on the circuit, green flag, but unfortunately Wilco's little beach holiday has cost us 9 minutes in the pit lane, so the session's definitely going to be stressed now because we're currently still sat in third place. We've not set a 52 yet, and obviously now everyone's in the same mindset. Everyone's trying to find a gap, everyone's trying to do a push lap and obviously improve their time. We're no exception, so we're going to find ourselves a nice little space and then we're going to jump straight into the second fastest lap of this session. A 52.57, that now bumps us to second in the class. I believe at this point we are 2 tenths away from Mark Donnelly, and we know the car has got a 52.3 in it at least. So we know the car's got it, so all I need to do is just try and string that perfect lap together. Now luckily spacing between everyone on this particular session is pretty good, so finding a space isn't too difficult. So one of the things I pride myself on is situational awareness and finding that perfect gap and knowing when to get on it, basically. So we're going to jump into the third and final fastest lap of this session.
Nitro, which is perhaps one of the closest battles here. Mark Donnelly currently leads Eden Young, so Mark Donnelly 52.1, which is a lap record, by the way. And Eden Young, you can see him there furiously flashing his lights as he comes into Druids. You can see how close he's getting to Mark Blackburn's car as he comes around Graham Hill. Actually, very unusual overtaking spot at Graham Hill. That's not really a thing that you often see. But Eden Young really pushing there in that Haltech Micra number 69. Sparks flying everywhere. You can see the glasses there. He's got like the anime smart guy glasses there, glinting as he makes his way around the track. Let's see what he can do then. Eden Young sets a faster sector 1 than anyone, 52.009. Eden Young, fastest car on track. Again, 2 rounds in a row. He managed it in Attack 2 at Donington Park. He's managed it again here at Attack 2 at Brands Hatch. Eden Young, fastest car on track right now. Never mind. Mark Donnelly now leapfrogged him. 51.8 from Mark Donnelly. Again, absolutely monstrous effort there in the Donnelly Racing Escort. Oh my goodness. This really is a battle for the ages. It looked like Eden Young had that in the bag. 52.009. Mark Donnelly manages to pip that by just over 1/10 of a second.
So we've got pit to car radio this year, so they are relaying times and messages back and forth from me. So at this point I was P1, and then you instantly overtook, leapfrogged, as Lecter said, by Mark Donnelly by 0.2 of a second. What a battle, what a battle this season is turning out to be. All of it. So we do manage to find time and space for one more push lap. Giving her all she's got. Captain, unfortunately the effort is in vain, finishing with a 51.12, flying across the finish line past the checkered flag. This session I've been keeping an eye on the dash since the air intake temperature sensors going a bit dooloo, but I've noticed that the coolant is risen into the 90s now. This car has never got hot in the 4 or 5 sessions and track days that we've done in this car since we built it in version 3. So I'm a bit worried. I mean, most people wouldn't be worried at coolant being in the 90s with a car like this, but I am, because I've never seen it go above 90 ever. And then into Parc Ferme here, for whatever reason, we essentially get stuck here for about 5 minutes now. We don't usually get stuck in Parc Ferme for this long. I mean, in front of Dean, in front of us, is only one car in the garage. I believe they're doing ride height checks, but they are taking their sweet time about it, to the point where Dean gets out his car, we have a little chat, and I just don't expect to be sat here for that long. It's never really happened. And because of that, the car temperature just keeps on rising, rising and rising.
Someone come down here with Ilias fans, please.
Now I did turn the car off and we sat there for another 5 minutes, and the temperature just kept rising without the car running. Now I didn't know where the fan override switch was, so I wasn't able to keep the fan going, but the queue starts to move, and before you know it, we start to boil over. We can see Steve pouring through the bonnet vent, waving frantically at the scrutineers. They can see the car is spewing coolant all over the floor. So I'm just asking, please just let me through. Let me go get this car cooled down. And thank you very much, scrutineers. They do let me through without question, so we can get this car back to the pits. Now I did radio to the pits for someone to come down with a portable fan, then quickly remembered that people aren't allowed in Parc Ferme, otherwise we would have been disqualified. So quick radio call back to say forget it, we don't need you. And then we got into the pits to assess the situation. Okay, so third session done, blinder of a lap time 52.009, which did put me at P1 for a split second, and then Donnelly pit me again with a 51.875. So I went out in that session with the, if you remember from the previous video, we had the boost settings on the steering wheel. Well, I went out in that session on position 7, but the difficulty with time attack is, especially with such a small circuit as this, is that I did a push lap into a checkered flag and the car overheated. Pulling into the Parc ferme, spitting boiling hot coolant out of the bonnet vent, so they waved me straight through. So appreciates the scrutineering guys for that. No inspections, but ultimately to get the car cooled down. Yeah, we saw 110 degrees. It's filled the overflow bottle, and ultimately it's spitting the coolant out of the overflow bottle. Hopefully you can hear me with all these cars going past. So we haven't really got long to cool the car down. It's currently 20 to 4, and we are back out in an hour. So I'm not sure if we're going to get the car cooled down before then. So the last session might be short-lived, but we'll have to sort of do a bit of strategy on that. But other than that, everything seems okay. We'll do the same thing again. We'll let it cool down, and then anything that happens in between now and next session will be following this clip. But yeah, P2. 0.009 seconds off of 51, which would be an effing achievement today. So if we can get that last session, but I'm over the moon with that lap time. I mean, it's practically a 51, so mega. Let's go and get this last session.
Oh yeah. Push that plunger in.
Okay, Super Attack, the final, the session that counts towards our final podium position of the day. So I'm looking to excel in this session, at least to the best of my car's and myself's ability. Anyway, let's just go back and address the overheating. So what's happened is the overflow bottle has filled up in between rounds quite slowly, and there is not enough time in between sessions for the system to cool down to such a point it actually draws back in the coolant from the overflow bottle during the vacuum phase. Now, on your road car, you would park up overnight, then over the course of the evening and the night, the coolant system would cool down enough and it would draw the coolant back in. But you know, we're getting an hour between sessions, there is not enough time to do that. So it's another thing that we have to add to our checklist in between sessions, among some other things which will be obvious after the session, and that we're going to have to manually syringe out the coolant from the overflow bottle and insert it back into the engine, because ultimately what's happened is the coolant that's in the overflow bottle that's been spewed out has then voided the overall coolant capacity of the engine itself, and less coolant in the engine means less coolant to transfer the heat energy, which ultimately means engine has no coolant or not enough coolant, which then leads to overheating. So what we've done in this case is we syringed all the coolant out of the overflow bottle, introduced it back into the engine, and throughout this entire session it does not overheat. So I'm pretty confident at this point that is what the issue is, and again, it's something we're going to have to look into looking at after every single session going forward.
But the car should sweep that out of the way fairly soon.
So Eden's just gone across the line over 1:13, so he definitely wasn't on pace then. So he must have let off, because we know that car is very, very capable. We'll keep an eye on that to see if he manages. It may just be that, again, like I say, the window's very narrow, so you don't, if you know you're going to get held up by traffic or something's going wrong, you know, you mess up a corner, for instance, you're just going to like bail on that lap and save the car so that you can just save it up for another lap.
Anyway, less waffling. We're going to go into the first lap, the first fastest lap that we set of this session. Enjoy the audio. Few things to unpack here is I cocked up the entrance into Druids, I cocked up coming out of Druids, and then the mirror fell off, which then ultimately broke my concentration and then decided to board a lap. I just thought I'd put this in just to show that, you know, it's not always perfect laps. Do make mistakes, and there's silly things like this which cause you to lose laps of concentration. But interestingly, what I've not done or not told you yet is we're up to position 10 on the throttle. We're at 100% power, all 447 horsepower.
Time Attack, I think, is very much a grassroots motorsport, but we have some really skilled professional driver builders, you know, with some sponsors and so on, and yet there's a lot of real, what you might call privateers as well, like pure privateers working on their driveways, getting second-hand parts from Facebook Marketplace, and I think that kind of builds, those kind of challenges are ones that a lot of enthusiasts can really relate to. So it was really interesting to hear Jamie Biss talk about that perspective. Eden Young there, flashing his headlights. I'm not
well, it's
sure.
interesting because he still hasn't set a time under a minute, and we know the car is capable of, like, you know, really bringing the battle to Mark Donnelly and Dean Riley here. So I don't know if he's, again, just backing out every time he knows that it's not going to be the perfect lap. But we haven't actually seen a fast lap being set by Eden. Yeah, I mean, see the car kind of like moving around there. I don't.
It's pretty fast.
Oh yeah, okay. There we go. So 52.4. So again, yeah, this is what we see. So between Mark Donnelly, Dean Riley, and Eden Young, there's a really, really tight battle there.
So Mark Donnelly 52.00, Dean Riley 52.41, and Eden Young 52.47. Yeah, 4/10 separating our classic and retro top three. Very, very close indeed.
Okay, so bit of a wild lap, and you can maybe hear the tyres screeching even on the straights now. Unbeknownst to me at this point, and I'm not going to spoil the surprise, because what you're going to see at the end of the video is going to show how big my balls are to drive the car in this condition. So wait to the end, it's worth it, and it's going to blow your mind. But I know I keep going on about me and Mark Donnelly, but Dean Riley in the VX220, the 2.2 litre supercharged VX220, has now entered the chat, setting the 52.3. So we're going to have to put some work in to come away with a podium today.
Mrs. Gizfab coming here live from the garage. Come on, Eden, she says. Are quite timeless, actually, and you can make anything fast if you know what you're doing. Really, really cool stuff. And of course, another case in point is Eden Young in that K11 Micra.
See his lights ablaze there.
He's really moving.
I mean, Dean Riley very, graciously moves out of the way, but yeah, you see him lifting that rear wheel going into the Druids. And the sparks again coming off his splitter there is, absolutely chucking it around that corner.
He's really
and it moves around such a lot, It's like, look at the sparks coming from it.
This is the problem he was talking about.
Flinging it through 30s.
Yeah. The diff is doing all kinds of things. The CVs are doing all kinds of strange things. The chassis is flexing as well.
Better, but let's see as it goes across the line. What time is he going to get?
Oh, no improvement there.
52.2.
So very,
just
very
lost
close.
A little bit of time on sector 2 then.
And that's all she wrote, folks. So we finished that with a 52.219 by the official TSL timing. In third place, Dean Riley with a 52.330. And then in first place with a blinder of a lap with a 51.596 is Mark Donnelly. Now, to have the top three in class separated by that time margin blows my mind, and I think it just shows how tight the competition is going to be in Classic and Retro for the rest of the year. And to be honest with you, I'm all for it. I think it's going to be absolutely mega. Now, we do manage to get a couple more hot laps in, but unfortunately we don't improve on our overall time. So let's not bore you any further. Let's start to wrap this video up. If you're still here watching at 44 minutes in, can I get a "oh yeah" in the comments?
Spicy Micra, man! Spicy Micra!
So the wife's trying extremely hard not to get my nipples into the shot. But yeah, that was extremely difficult session. Obviously, if you've watched the last few vlogs, don't censor it. Only fans down below if you want to see.
Really?
For your eyes only. So I'm going to show you the steering wheel because it tells you a story. So if you've watched the last few vlogs, you understand what I've explained about the throttle map. So just zoom in on that red knob there, and you can see it's at position 10, which is full throttle. But I think at that power level, it's just too much power for the tyre that we've got, and it just understeers like an absolute beast. I gave it my all that session, and we came away with a 52.219, which is the second fastest lap time of the day. And Donnelly again with 51.597, so fucking credit to Mark on that. But Dean Riley in third place, 52.330. So Dean's come on massively today, considering today Brands Hatch is Dean's first time at the circuit. That's a bloody impressive time, and I know Dean's struggling with air intake temperature temps. I mean, I know we are, but his is a supercharged VX220. So yeah, that was. I'm happy with that. I wanted a 52 today, and to get that 52.009 in that last session, which kind of put us on. I think the first session was provisional pole, but that's not how it works at time attack. It's the final session that counts, but obviously that's a decent amount of points for today. So I'm happy the car's performing the way it is. I'm really happy with the car. So after that last session, the overheating, it filled the overflow, and we just couldn't get it cool. Managed to borrow a fan from Johnny Fletcher, and we got it cooled down to about 54 degrees in an hour. So by the time I went out, but in that last session, the temperature's not gone above 82 degrees. So I think it was just, what's the word I'm looking for? An anomaly. To why it overheated, but that last session was meant. She was meant. That's my best Irish accent, by the way. So yeah, we're going to go load the car, and we're going to go get another second place trophy, another pot for the dusty shelf at the workshop, and nipple.
In second, it's Eden Young!
And today's Classic and Retro winner, Mark Donnelly!
And there we have it, P2, over the moon with the car. The fact that it's still in one piece. We had that little overheating issue in the third session, and in the fourth session we're absolutely mint. So yeah, I'm really happy with how the car's performing this year. You're definitely going to see in the footage it's a handful, and then you put your foot to the floor. When you're 100% throttle, it's no joke. And you know, if you think you can come drive this thing in a straight line, by all means, DM me, come and drive it, because I can guarantee you can't drive this in a straight line. We've got 5 weeks the next round. There's going to be a load of updates that are coming, all going to be vlogged. So yeah, I'm really happy with round 2. Not just for me, but obviously for the sponsors as well. And obviously, thank you for the sponsors for getting involved with this. Haltech, who've been here today in person helping us. Even Mark from Pulsar had a cheeky appearance as well. And then obviously everyone else on the car, you know who you are, who's helped. And also we got a really good result with Ilya today as well, who also got 3rd in class. Good result, clear by 0.8 seconds to 4th place, which was a bit of a result. Started off a bit rocky for Ilya. I'm sure he'll show you in his vlog how his day went. So result P3, P2 for Team Haltech, unofficial Team Haltech UK. So yeah, with that being said, hope you've enjoyed. Any comments, drop it down below. Any questions you've got, I'll answer them. Drop a comment down below, all that jazz. Make sure you head to the website, buy some Spicy Micra V3 merchandise. We've had a pop-up shop here today, and we've sold loads of stuff. So I'm going to have to restock at least. But that pop-up shop will be at Snacton as well. So if you'd rather come get it in person with a cheeky picture of me in my sexy suit, and by all means. That being said, thank you very much. We'll see you in next vlog. And then you did well today?
Yeah.
Yeah boy, vlog over.